take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
So welcome back to Coffee Break with Candace. We're so glad you tuned in this week. I have a very special guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi, I am Melody Kashumba. I am a Pain to Purpose Accelerator life coach. I am also a nurse educator. I have a passion for women, helping women to turn their pain into fuel. I help women that are tired of perpetual cycles of pain to kind of reframe the way they look at their pain and actually use their pain as fuel to show up powerfully in life, in business, in leadership, and in love. And I really do it using my journey, using the principles I learned in my journey. I was originally born and raised in Zimbabwe, Africa, a beautiful country, but like anything, we have a lot going on there. However, when I was young, my parents, we had periods where we had a whole lot, and then we had periods where we didn't have anything. But I am so blessed in that my parents had a growth mindset. And my parents taught me at a very young age that if I had a vision to be something, whatever vision I had, if I believed in that vision, and if God was in the center of my life, and if I also applied myself and worked hard, I could be anything. The rest is history because here I am in the United States of America. I've been here since 1999. So I lead with a passion to help people that have pain, to understand that pain actually stretches you. And when you can understand the power you gain when you're going through that pain, you come out a transformed person. That realization is what helps you to actually realize new levels that you never thought you could reach. So in a nutshell, that's me.
Well, that's quite a nutshell. So what I would ask is, you mentioned that your journey was what led you to this, where you wanted to help women with their pain. So tell us more about your journey and about the decision to do this work.
Yes. So going back to when I was younger, I actually remember being a child and going to school, but I was always different and children didn't understand me. And I remember early on in school being bullied, but I never told anybody about it. And I remember going home crying because, the children at school were bullying me. But I realized that if they were bullying me, that I had to be strong. So I actually started growing strength at a very young age. And if I knew what I knew now, I'd have told my parents, right, that, hey, I'm being bullied at school, so
Yes.
they could help. But I actually internalized it and then kind of used it as fuel. Like I actually used it to kind of motivate me to just want to push on and press forward. And growing up, we had periods where we had a lot and we had periods where we did not have much. And for me, I call poverty pain because going without and ending up on welfare, and society sometimes is not kind when you don't have much. So that became a pain for me growing up, where I said to myself, there's got to be better. I want to make it and I want to apply myself so that I can help my parents. I want to apply myself so that I can change my family history and my family trajectory. And so I use that pain of poverty that I went through when we would have no electricity, when we'd be cooking by a fire. And I remember we'd be sitting out because we had no electricity, but we stayed in an actual suburb where everybody else had electricity. So we're outside on a fire and I'm looking at the other houses around me, and they have electricity. But I remember looking up and looking at the stars and looking at the stars and thinking to myself, someday I'm going to reach for the stars. So, what looked like a time where we're sitting out and we don't have electricity and we are like cooking on the fire became that place of dreaming, became that place where I began to have visions of what I wanted to be, and knowing that I could break the limits of what life had for me. So when I was 16, actually, I told my parents, I said, I'm going to America. And you can imagine we didn't have much. We would have periods where we had a lot, periods where we didn't have anything. And I remember doing my paperwork to come to America by candlelight. But I just had this belief based on the growth mindset that my parents had instilled in me that it could happen. And the rest is history because from the time that I began to apply myself to come to the United States, and I have a picture of my first passport where I was like 16. I was a baby, but I was a baby who carried a vision. And that vision came from a place of pain, but understanding that I was going to use my pain for purpose. And I know that in the pain that I went through, that poverty that we went through, and the hardship, I grew stronger. So resilience became the norm. And I stood on that strength that I had and was able to come to the United States of America. Doors opened. When you move forward and when you cast that net and you move towards your dream, God has a way of opening doors. So God opened those doors. So that's how I use my pain to purpose. So and I talk about the three P's. I lean on three P's: pain perception and passion. Whatever was your pain, you have to change your perception towards it. When you change your perception towards it, you look at it differently. So when you look at it differently, you come out of it. But what happens is whatever pain you overcome, you have a passion to help people to overcome that pain. So I came out with a passion to help those people that are in pain, especially women, any type of pain, but I'm drawn to the pain of poverty. I'm drawn to pain of bullying and intimate partner abuse because I've been through that. And I use my passion that I developed going through the pain to move me in those circles and to be able to help them, motivate them, speak life to them, and encourage them.
So let me ask you a question. So when you decided to come to the United States, who did you know here? And what was your plan?
So thankfully, when I started, I was 16 years old and I was in high school, but I later went to college. So it's kind of like we call it upper six and lower six, but that's college level. So when I decided to come, I just decided I want to go to the United States of America, and I was looking at the different states. But my final decision to come to America, and actually, all I can say is God opened the doors because when I went to the college level, I met a friend who we got along so well with, and she had a sister in the United States of America. So God kind of opened the door, used kind of her in my life to open to the world of possibilities. And she came before I came after we were done with college. And later I was able to come, and I actually came and I stayed with her and we were attending the same college.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so you also have a nursing degree, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
I
that's it.
do.
So tell us a little bit more about that journey.
So I have always, I believe that to be in, and I'm sure you'll agree, to be in healthcare, you have to have a certain calling for it. And I think it was just an innate calling where I just always wanted to help. To alleviate pain is the perfect way to say it. And so when I was deciding what I was coming to study here in the United States, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to come and be a nurse. I wanted to come and help those that were sick and those that were afflicted, with the hope to one day use that in my own country, because healthcare it's quite challenging in a third world country. So I instinctively decided I was going to come and study nursing. And when I came, I pursued nursing and I just loved it. I love dealing with patients. I love alleviating pain. I love being a voice. And I believe it's an honor for us to even, for them to let us care for them. And so I worked on became a registered nurse first and never stopped. I think I'm a lifelong learner. Then I did my
Me too.
BSN. I know. I did my BSN, and along the way, getting my education, I got married, and I have three beautiful children that I just rave about. Amazing children, two daughters and a son that are my biggest motivation. And then I went back, my friend, I have a friend, Lisa, she says, Melody, you're a glutton for punishment. Because I went back for my I know. I went there for my master's in nursing and healthcare administration, which gave me a whole other view of healthcare, working with evidence-based and understanding that you can actually effect change using already pre-existing evidence. And so I'm drawn every day to build an awareness to everybody to say, listen, nursing is evolving and we have evidence that supports it. And so I bring information to a place where there's no information. And wherever there's knowledge, there's revelation. And I can see the lights, flicker because of new knowledge. And that's what drives me in nursing.
That's amazing. So, if you don't mind, because you mentioned it, that you were in a situation with intimate partner abuse, how are you able to pull yourself out of that?
So and this is, for me, I speak of it to be able to help other women. I talk about having a master's in nursing, but when I went through it, I had a master's. I was actually working on my master's. And what I usually get from people is, but you're intelligent and you're educated, but it's not something that comes in your face. It's something that's progressive. Nobody comes to you with a sign that says, I am an abuser. And by abuser, I think we need to not minimize what abuse is. When a person speaks words that are disempowering, when a
Mm,
person tells you you're
so
not
true.
beautiful, when a person tells me you're not going to become anything, or without me, you're nothing, when a person tells you you don't look good and dressed in certain attire and tells you to take it off, that's abuse. Where you're not free to be who you are. And um, I was in it. I actually found myself in it because it was progressive.
Mm,
And I actually got depressed and I was battling with depression. However, it was in this place of depression because my story, um, my biggest triumph is I found God through my pain. I always had a relationship with God, but I developed a personal relationship, a deeper relationship with God when I was in that place of deep pain. So I learned that God loved me, and I learned that He loved me unconditionally. So when I began to understand that, I then began to listen to the words that were around me, what was being said to me. That's when the light flickered. And I began to realize that I am beautiful. Something's wrong with the person that's telling me I'm not beautiful. And as time went on, I began to notice the behaviors more, that nothing was wrong with me. I'm not perfect, but I didn't deserve to be treated a certain way. And
absolutely.
yes, and I didn't deserve to be treated a certain way. And I began to look at other relationships I had had and began to realize that I actually had a track record of people that were not good for me. And that took power away from me. And what people don't realize is when you are in a relationship where you're um, someone is disempowering you and abusing you in any form, it actually takes away from your purpose, your passion, and your life. That's
It
why
does.
you have, yes, that's why you have to let that go, because your own life and purpose depends on you moving in the highest version of yourself. So I came to that realization and started slowly working to get out of it. And I can tell you that even after I left, there were times I still missed the people, I still missed the person, because you get accustomed to that form of love. And it's not a proper form of love. It's not how we're meant to be loved. But I got help And I always say this, that get the help that you need. I saw a counselor to help me through it and surrounded myself with people that were empowering and led with my faith, understanding who I was.
That's so
So
powerful. No, it's wonderful to hear. Um, and so I would ask, so, you have a lot of experiences. So at what point in your life do you say, I want to help other women in this way with their, pain, their purpose, their passions, and how did you go about putting your organization together and doing what you do now?
that's an amazing question. And the one thing that I'm very honest with myself. So I got to a place where I had a fire that was burning, and that's more in my book, Chasing Purpose, how to move in the direction of the fire that's inside. I just had a fire inside, and I was doing different things to help women. And it could be at the grocery store. Somebody I see, I'm speaking life. And I think sometimes what happens is when you have that fire, you just draw people to you. So I was organically doing it, but I did not know what it was. But I also, being a lifelong learner and being a enthusiast and a person that's just so driven, I stumbled, and I think it was by divine connection, into my coach, Mia Redrick. And I saw an ad that said, do you want to package what you know? And then she explained that your soft skills can actually be packaged and you can serve the world. And for me, the key word was serve the world, because I believe I come from a place of love. And so I contacted her because I will try. I actually am a person, I will step out. So I contacted her, and my very first call with her, she was able to pinpoint one of my biggest issues, which was mindset. She called me out and said, you need to work on your mindset, because I had so much in me, but low self-esteem, and she was like, you're talented and you could be so much, but you need to work on your mindset. And I can help you with that. And I just plunged in, took a step of faith. She became my coach. And the very first thing was she helped me to figure out, and I actually just thanked her last week and told her I would not be Pain to Purpose Accelerated if I had not met her, because I was able to work through the different strengths I had and what I was doing every day. And it all pointed to pain to purpose, moving people from pain to purpose, caring for people, being compassionate towards people. And so after she gave me clarity, and she has an amazing program, after giving me clarity in pain to purpose, she was able to help me to package it, to establish my company, which is Graceful Acceleration, and begin offering life coaching, as well as I do a lot of nonprofit work in Zimbabwe for women. And I have to say this because my company is Graceful Acceleration, because I believe that as a woman, you want to accelerate, but you want to do it with grace and ease, doing the things that you were called to do. And so my motto with Graceful Acceleration is, those we've helped will know. We're not loud, but those we help will know, and they will appreciate it.
That's so awesome. I mean, what an incredible story and an incredible journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what is one of the things that when a woman comes to you for coaching that you tell her right off the bat?
So the first thing is I listen. That's the biggest thing. I listen because everyone has a story, and most people, and I have to just say this with a caveat that not everyone is ready to move away from their pain.
Mm.
Some people, it's no fault to themselves, but they're part of in their journey, they're still making pain their story, and they're still feeling sorry for themselves. Then you have some people whose pain is paralyzing them. So when it comes to those people, those women, I may not be able to have impact, because in order to help them accelerate, they have to want it. But for the women that are ready, women that are already trying to move from pain to purpose, the very first thing I do is listen to their story, because most of the time, just like me, part of their story is tied to their purpose. So you always hear, and I have an example of an amazing lady that I'm working with all the way in Zimbabwe. She's phenomenal. But part of her story, her pain was she was told she was too loud and too confident. But today she's trying to
Wow.
establish, yes.
Mm,
But today she's trying to establish herself as a confidence coach.
that's
So,
awesome.
and that's the thing. So by listening to her, she was telling me, and she says, when I was younger, as I was growing up, I had issues with being too confident and being told I'm too confident. But the very first thing I was able to point out to her is, do you understand that the assignment that's on your life is confidence and building confidence? So it makes sense that was the pain that you dealt with. So that's
Wow.
usually that's usually the foundation.
Mm, that's so good. And so, is there anything else you'd like to share?
So, well, I'm excited because I have a new book. And I say I with a little reservation, because I God helped me with everything, lining everything up for the book. But there's a new book coming by Melody Kashumba, and I still get teary eyed just thinking about it, because it's been an amazing journey. But it's called Chasing Purpose: How to Move in the Direction of the Fire Within. It's a book that details my pain from the time I was a young child. But what I realized as I was writing the book, I was telling my story of how there was a small flame that started from the time I was a child, and all the hardships and the hurdles that I incurred were kind of like wood that was being put in the fire. So when you catch up with the book, at the end of the book, it's talking about how the fire is now burning, and it's talking about the things that God is doing in my life and how He's using my pain to purpose. So that purpose is now the fire that's inside me that is now burning from Zimbabwe to the world. So I'm excited about that, and I am just in awe at how God has opened that door and how He was able to give me the strength to write page by page.
Oh, congratulations. That is incredible. And
Thank
when
you.
and where will we be able to find the book?
So it's coming out in November, and my hope is it's going to be a hard copy, and definitely we're hoping it's going to be on Amazon. But my hope is that it will be not only an ebook but also a hard copy, and more to come on that.
That's exciting. Congratulations. Yes, keep us posted.
Thank you. Will do.
And so, thank you for your, powerful story. I mean, it really is powerful. The work that you're doing, the work that you've done, your own personal journey, just wow. So, thank you so much. And so,
Thank
we're,
you.
oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And so, what I'd like to do is just change topic slightly, and as I mentioned to you before we started, I do a segment called "Who Said That," where I
Oh
will
yeah.
give, yes, where I will give you a quote, and if you need it, I will give you a clue. You get one guess, and if you guess correctly, I will donate a modest amount to a charity of your
Oh,
choice.
I got to get it. I have to get it.
So what? First of all, what is your charity?
So I have to say it would have to be helping women in Zimbabwe. So I have an organization that's very dear to my heart. It's called the Red Lipstick Revolution, that equips women through various education offerings to do with mindset as well as skills, to help them be productive and influence their families positively.
That's
So this
incredible.
this is why I have to get it.
Well, I hope you get it.
I know. The pressure's on.
Just a little bit, but don't worry about it. So,
Okay.
okay, so the quote is, "A saint is a sinner who keeps on trying."
Hmm. Wow. Hmm. Do I have any other clues?
Yeah. First of all, I'm laughing. This is so funny. Oh my goodness. So the person that said that, and actually this has been attributed to more than one person. So if you get that, if you guess the other person, that's fine too. But this particular person um, literally has, been called a saint for the most part. And she was, past tense, a nun.
Okay. Any other clues?
Oh, you need a little bit more. So this is someone that's that's well. She's very well known, and
So,
go ahead. She's won
no,
a.
it's fine.
I was going to say she's won a Nobel Peace Prize. She was also canonized on the anniversary of her death. She was admired by many for her charitable work. Um,
Okay. I want to say
mhm.
Mother Teresa.
Yes. Awesome. I'm like,
This
please
is
get
the
it.
best part of my day.
Yeah. So see, she's such a well-known. Like, if I give you too much,
Oh,
it'll be like that's so
that's
easy.
amazing.
Yeah, but
That's
that's yes. But I think I thought I love that quote: "A saint is a sinner who keeps on trying." Because I feel like we're all in that place where we fall down, we get back up, we keep on
yes.
trying.
We
Yeah.
keep on trying. That
Yeah.
was good. And it blessed me. The
So.
saint is a sinner who keeps on trying.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. So I will donate
Yeah.
to your charity. And
You.
so I know, and I'm happy to do that.
Oh my God.
I love the work that you're doing, and keep it up. My goodness, this, what's been amazing for me doing this show is
Mhm.
all these incredible people, period, but in particular, all these incredible women like yourself, and that's encouraging for me. I know it's encouraging for my audience, but it's encouraging for
Mhm.
me, because I think, especially this year, there's been those moments where I've just wondered, like, am I making a difference? Like, so much has changed, and just, and reevaluating my purpose. And so,
Wow.
again, to see you and to see all the work you're doing, and like I said, so many of you are just incredible, and it's like I said, it
Wow.
really is inspiring. So thank you for that, and thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. And I have to say, for me, I can't do it alone. I am very grateful to God for giving me the strength and the passion to be able to be a voice for women. So I can't take the credit, but I'm just kind of like the earthly representative moving his vision.
Mm.
So, but thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's so good, but you still have to, even though, and he is, yeah, God is amazing. But if we
Mhm.
don't listen, if he's given us laid something on our hearts, and we don't
Yes,
listen to that, it doesn't go anywhere. So just the fact
very
that
true.
you're doing that, and you're saying,
Very
okay,
true.
God, I trust you. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone. I mean, those.
Way outside.
I talk to him about stuff a lot. I'm like, "Are you sure, God? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's someone else maybe who could do it, better." And
Yes,
he's like, "No, yeah." Like, I'm
never
sure he
could.
laughs. I feel like I provide God with an occasional laugh, and sort of like, here she is again. So
Yes.
yeah. So
So you can relate, but thank you.
you are so welcome. But thank you so much for being on the show. Any final words?
Um, I think the biggest thing is I always talk about empowerment, not just being about Melody has made it. But for me, my personal definition for empowerment is when I feel I've made it and overcome, am I reaching back to the person that's in that place I was and pulling them forward so that they can also do the same thing? That to me is what true empowerment is, when we can all rise and be in the highest version of ourselves.
So good. No, that's wonderful. I completely agree with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being on Coffee Break with Candace, and come back anytime.
Thank you. Especially with the win. Absolutely. I'm just joking. Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
Empowering every individual one step at a time. To empower every individual one step at a time.
Healthcare should be simple.